Everybody's music for the people in the streets. This is Irish rebel music, Irish rhythm and Irish.
My name is Adam Daly. I write songs, play guitar and sing with the Barley Mob.
My name's Neil Butler. I'm the drummer in the band.
My name is John Hedgie with my friends. I play bass and look after the sound for the Barley Mob.
My name is Andrew Moore. I am the lead guitarist. Also play acoustics, bit of banjo, bit of mandolin, and do some backing vocals.
My name is Gavin Doyle and I play keys, sax, tin whistle and a bit of vocals.
My name is Robert Collins, trumpet player, whistle player, percussionist with the Barley Mob.
I grew up in Springfield in Tala in Dublin 24 and now I live in County Kildare.
Born in Tala, raised in Kildare, now living in the northwest.
I grew up in Tala, Feathercairn to be precise. Rough enough area but really good people there.
Grew up in Salvage, County Kildare, and a family in Sligo town.
From Tala originally, but I live in Clondalkin now.
Born and bred in Clondalkin, in Dublin.
Yeah, Dublin, another Dublin. My dad's uncle, Matty, bringing a piano into my mother's house when I was about 5. And I was there to witness this thing being brought in and I was like, what is that? And how do you work it?
It would have been an old vinyl player Mum and Dad had. Status Quo, first record, biscuit tins, set of sticks for Christmas.
Yeah, nice. How old are you?
8, 9.
I remember hearing Fateless Insomnia. I heard it on the pirate radio station, headphones in, and it blew my mind. It would have been 94, so I would have been 9, I suppose. At the time, I was an altar boy in the church in Salvage. The church in Salvage, it sounds amazing, acoustically, and the architecture, the roof is amazing. And for some reason I couldn't, the instruments, because it was drum machines rather than a drummer and programmed synths, and it was different from what I knew, like guitars or a real drummer. The next morning I asked my mum how they made that sort of music, you know, and she didn't know. It became my thing to find out.
Probably Elvis Presley. My dad had music in the house. He had an old record player in the corner that no one was allowed to touch. Big massive rack thing. Yeah, I remember my dad playing Elvis. Loads of other stuff. He had Beatles and stuff like that as well in the house. Earliest memory was probably Caught in a Trap because it was such a frantic song. It's just so much going on. It was drums and I just remember everything being crazily frantic and I loved that. I was like, what is this?
The earliest I can think of even acknowledging music as existing was probably about 5 or 6. My dad playing tunes in the car, Van Morrison, and loads of ska tunes like the Jam, the Beat, the Specials and all that. I think that's the first time I realised music existed. I think Dad's playing tunes in the car and like, you like this or that. I think that's it. I was always kind of around music with my family. Our music enthusiasts, always music around and always tunes I've always been playing. Like the telly wouldn't have been on, the radio or something would have been on in the house.
I was about 5 or 6 and the local marching band, the Clondalkin Youth Band, were doing a fundraiser, marching around the housing estates. And I walked around the whole estate looking at them and I was just like, I want to do that.
I went to music lessons when I was about 7. My folks sent me to the Royal Irish Academy of Music to do piano lessons. Around the same time, my brother Mick got an electric guitar. One day he went out and I picked up the guitar. Yeah, I just, that was it, fell in love.
Best one for me in school, 6th class gig, but we done it 5th year. And JVC camcorders only sort of came out, you know, the teacher. He made us all look like skeletons in the edit, you know what I mean? A van or whatever, rock out, you know what I mean? Out of time, out, you know, everything, but the whole school there. You know, we have to clap because we're out, the teacher, you know. That was the first banger, yeah.
Playing in the mass band in school, Salish College, playing Christian Catholic music like to 600 lads in the gym, but it was still music and I loved it, like we had a drummer, bass, guitar, 2 or 3 keyboard players and 30 lads as a choir. But 600 lads, everyone quiet, no messing because it's in mass, you know, everyone looking at you.
They had music in the school and I remember my friend was playing drums, Owen Burke, legend. And I went to see him rehearse with a couple of other members of, I think called the Sloga. It was a Sloga music competition. I just went with him, like, you know, and then I saw this instrument that was over in the corner and nobody wanted to touch it. It was a bass guitar. And I was like, you know what, I'll play the bass. So I went over into the corner and Del Murphy showed me how to play one finger It was Zombie, and I think another one was Bryan Adams, Summer of '69. And then my life just turned around, and next thing you know, I'm a gig musician. Bass guitar was the first thing. And then I quickly got bored of bass and I moved on to 6 strings. At the time, there was this program on the telly on RTA. It was the Beatles Anthology series. And I remember seeing George Harrison, and he was just so cool, such a cool guy. Like, and I love George Harrison. And he was playing the riff to Day Tripper. And I was like, I have to learn how to play this song. You know what I mean? I have to get it. So went out to Tower Records, and they had a tab book, the Beatles guitar techniques. I still have it to this day, and I still use it.
I was in school, primary school, and like everybody learned the recorder, and I took to it real quick, and the teacher decided to tell me family that I was taking to it really well. In January, we'll say, we started learning it, and by the February I had surpassed the teacher and I was teaching the class. The next parent teacher meeting that came up, she was like, he has something here, some music there, you should maybe think about pursuing something. First class or second class, 7 or 8 or something like that.
Probably when I was about 7. In St. Joseph's they had a whistle and accordion band. So I got introduced into that. As on top of that, I got to join the Clondalkin Band as well. So I was learning recorder to kind of read the music. After a couple of years I was put on trumpet.
First gig I ever seen was down in Kilkenny. I remember being 6 or 7, something like that. I think it was Shortall's Pub, and they had a room out the back and there was a band on, and it was Bruce Shields was playing. I didn't realise at the time his connection with Phil Lynott and that whole history. I do remember us hearing Celtic rock music for the first time and just being blown away by it. Such an absolute buzz, and I just thought, this is great.
My father, who worked up in Baldonnel Barracks, he used to have bands all the time for birthday parties and stuff like that. And I remember going up, and that was my introduction to the live band. First place I would have seen a live band in that context. You know, I was only 15, 16. I remember it was for every birthday, it was always up in Baldonnel Barracks in the NCO's mess, and they'd get a band in. And it was always the same cake, just a different name on it. You know what I mean? It was a breadboard, big plonk of cake, load of cream, and then, what's his name? And then put it all grand. That was the first gig I ever experienced. Yeah.
Me and my friend Larkin, we went to see Ocean Colour Scene in the Olympian Theatre on St. Patrick's Day. We were about 15. He looked older than me, so he could get pints. Well, he went in and got pints, and then I remember the first song came on, it was The Circle, and the guitar riff, and everyone just ran down to the front of the mosh pit, like, you know, and full up, and we were right there in the middle, and yeah, just I wanted to do that.
My dad brought me into Darky Kelly's in town. He was like, we go in and see a band and get some dinner. And I went in and probably listened for about 40 minutes, and my dad was like, oh, you're going to go up and play now. So what do you mean? And then your man calls me up from the thing, so I got up and played. He had the tin whistle in his pocket the whole time.
You were in the middle eating your dinner.
Yeah, I was in burger chips, you know, drinking Soda, thinking I was hard man. And my dad was like, go on, you're going to go up and do a song. So I got up and did a song, and I ended up playing 2 or 3.
I was trying to get in touch with Andy, contacted his sister Louise, and I was saying, like, can you get me a number for Andy? Put an ad up on Gumtree and looking for a drummer, and then I went away for a few days. When I came back I had 7 or 8 emails. The morning I was looking through the emails, I was listening to an Australian band called the John Butler Trio, and on the list of names was Neil Butler. And so I rang him up and I said, look, I'm ringing you because your name is Neil Butler, you know, and we went and met in Nace in the Ivy, and yeah, just got on like a house on fire. And so we got together there, myself and Andy and Neil, we were a 3-piece band, and we just got stuck in straight away.
I was living in my mum's, the only return because I was living in Limerick and I was doing a heavy metal band up there for a while. But then I got a phone call from my sister Louise, and she said, Adam Daly's looking to talk to you. So I was like, okay. So I got in touch, I got the phone number, and I rang Adam, and he was like, do you want to come up? And I was like, well, I'm not doing anything at the minute. So I was like, I'll come up and have a meet up, which introduced to Neil Butler, the funniest man on earth. I was actually playing acoustic guitar, but I was playing the bass on the acoustic and the lead lines on top, and Adam was playing an electric guitar. It was a crazy setup. Neil was on percussion, yeah, exactly. Yeah, all the bongos and all that stuff was great.
Yeah, the first Barley Mob gig was in a place called The Pale. It was a gig called The Pale Presents in Dublin City Centre. There was a guy, Andy Early, was running a gig, and I just reached out and said, "Is there any chance of a gig?" You know, and he was like, "Yeah, absolutely." So I think we only had a few songs, maybe 4 or 5 songs at the time, and it went down great.
The first Barley Mob gig was myself, Adam, and Neil, and we were playing in Dublin City Centre. The Pale, Andy Early was running a gig. It was like an open mic acoustic thing, and Adam asked him, could we play, and he said yeah. Went up and we did. We start the first thing that happened, the first song, the first crack, wasn't it? And it was like, I can't even remember what the song was, but it was like, boom, dish, and then it was like, take two, you know, but it was just brilliant. A lot of people that were there were actually really liked what we were doing. I didn't know what to play. It was like a guitar solo. And the first solo I did, I remember when we went in to record the album like 2 years later, it was the same guitar solo from that original gig. Just made it up on the spot, and then Adam said, that's perfect, keep that. I was like, okay. So I kept it, went, and like 2 years later we're sticking that on an album, you know. But yeah, that was the first gig, and it went well, it was great. I think we got a lock in or something.
Yeah, maybe.
First Barley Mob gig was outside the Tree Arena, or whatever it was called at the time, the O2. And it's in my way to Butsy. It was the second song in. The strap on my bass came off and I dropped the bass mid-song. It was fucking scarlet, like, fuck. Picked it back up and just laughed. 3 or 4 gigs in, maybe, was the picnic. It was great. It was great. I was barely knew the chords, but it was great.
We got our first festival gig, and it was knocking stock when the pub used to be a stage, playing Saturday morning. This is when there used to be only 2 days, Friday and Saturday. Playing Saturday morning at 10 o'clock. I was second out of 16 people, it was 15, I think it was 40 or something. And we're like, we'll see if we can tell our mans that we're staying in each other's houses the night before, so even get a load of drink and get a tent. But anyway, we went in, set up our tents, sculled a couple of cans, thought we were mad bastards. And we said, we walked down into the arena. So first time any of us were at like a proper festival. And we walk in, and the main set used to be down past the little barn. And we went down, and you lads were playing. It was just such a mad experience. Probably about 4,000 people or 3,000 people who stand there. And I was like, what is this madness? So I think Andy fucked his guitar up in the air, and you were fucking passing smokes around everybody. Outrageous. This is madness. And caught about a half an hour to set. I was like, this is unbelievable. And that was the first memory of then I've seen this. And then first time playing, just like genuinely, I think it might have been the Wild Roots. I remember when I got there thinking, Jesus, this is mad, being surrounded by all these amount of people again. But that was probably the first gig, and that was savage.
First Barley Mob gig was Crane Lane for the Cork Jazz Festival. Crane Lane was hopping.
For me, like, we were in Strawberry Fest, and we were on the same bill as Status Quo. It's like 6 degrees of separation. It's like it was meant, that first record, like, as you asked me earlier on, was, and then to be on the same billing.
Yeah.
And knowing that the boys are up, then you know, an hour or two after us, like, but that sticks out with me, it really does, you know. Just to, you know, it was one of the main highs of the whole thing.
I think the first big gig was when a friend of mine, Emer, rang me up one day and said, there's this competition being run by the Dublin City Soul Festival called the Rising Stars, and you should enter it, you know. So I had done a little demo of We Go the Distance, and I sent it in, and I got an email back to say that we'd been accepted into the competition. And so we went in to Meeting House Square in Dublin, done the gig, it went really well, kind of felt like a real band that day. So the next day after that, Chris then invited us to play at the Soul Picnic, which was in Merrion Square, which was like a couple of thousand people, and that was absolutely amazing. It was a game changer for the band in terms of confidence, and just seeing, you know, that type of crowd make you want to keep gigging to get back to those sizes of crowds, you know. In the next week or two, the announcement came out. The winners of the Rising Stars 2010 were the Barley Mob, which was unreal. So it meant that we had a year's rehearsal space in what was then the Temple Bar Music Centre in Dublin. It's now the Pudding Factory, and we won some recording time, and so we done our first version of Everybody's Music. It just lit a fire under us, you know. We had this regular space we could go and work on our music, and looking back on it, I don't know what the plan would have been if that hadn't happened, you know. Like, it really, we landed on our feet with that. So that sticks out as being something that, you know, really resonated with me, that we were sort of on the right path, you know. So that sticks in my mind as a high point. I mean, there's been lots of great gigs, Wild Root, enjoyed Forest Fest, Westport Festival, Occupy, Dame Street gig. We've done some unusual ones. We've done some ones in really small little pubs and stuff like that. We've some great gigs out in Sligo, in No Place Like Dome, Temple House, Sligo Live, Tricky McGarrigles, Me Hall and the Boys. I think every gig, without being a cliche, is like a high point, you know. Going out and getting to do it at all is amazing. Feel very grateful for that.
One of the main ones would probably be the reaction we got when we played in Knockenstock in 2013, and we just got a massive response. So many people came to the show because we pushed it. We had CDs and we went around all day giving out flyers to everyone, saying, come to this gig and blah blah blah. We pushed it, and it was great. So I remember getting up on stage with the lads and was like, this is it, lads, it's gonna be amazing. And we went up, we laid our asses off, and it was fantastic. It was one of the best shows we've ever done. And then from there, everyone knew about the Barley Mob.
A couple of the years at Knockenstock were phenomenal. Wild Roots during the summer was great. No Place Like Dome was one of the best festivals I've ever been at. You know, it was, in Sligo. And even like things like playing Divide for Philo. The first time I heard Tin Lizzy, like, I'm this fan, and I just couldn't believe it. Like, it was rock and roll, but it was Irish. You know, you could hear he was crumbling. Like, Tin Lizzy were big heroes, little art. And that was a high point, alright?
But anybody doesn't know, right? Stand up, rise up, you know. In my head, I just went, ha, 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 stand up. I went like mental until you're all going, oh, back in the room. Horrendous. Just sitting there going, I hate myself.
The Boomtown Fair van incident where we got invited to Boomtown, and you know, you do the thing you do, which you book another few gigs because you want to make the trip worthwhile. So we were done the first gig in the Hare and Hound in Birmingham, and then we were heading to Winchester the next day for Boomtown Fair, and the van blew an injector line and just rolled to a stop. And we missed the gig. We missed a really big gig. I think in total it was like 6 hours from the time that the van broke to the time we were on the road again. It was just horrendous. It seemed like nobody wanted to help a transit van full of 7 Irish boys. One, I think, definitely had dreads at the time. Boomtown were sound. They gave us a gig the next day. We met a lot of people after the gig that said they were, you know, they'd been there the previous night waiting on us to show up and stuff like that. So that felt really disappointing, you know. It was kind of something that was out of our control, and it's definitely unfinished business, but an absolute low point.
One low point for me, a gig we played in JJ Harlow's, and my god, there were so many of us at this stage. There were 7 in the band. But they put Andy, here's the stage, and then Andy beside the door where the guys go in and get the barrels for the drink. I wasn't even on the stage, you couldn't even see me. Literally, we put Andy here
the space,
with his giant pedal board and stupid loud amp in the gig, and I was really like, alright lads! And like the lads were having a great time and getting out front and stuff, and it was great, but I was literally in the corner where these 2 lads were coming back and forth, grabbing barrels of beer and stuff, and I was there going, don't stand on me pedals, and then you had all these girls like at the side of the stage putting their drinks on my gear. I was like, one girl spilled the stickiest drink, I don't know what it was, but it landed on me, really good custom box wah and destroyed it. I was like, nah!
Definitely Boomtown. Listen, Boomtown the second year, the van broke down. It was shocking. A real kick in the nuts. Wasn't meant to be. There would be a Boomtown tree for the Barley Mob, I'm sure of it. And we'll rent the van this time.
In Cork, it was lashing rain the whole time we were there, and the sax got wet, and I just poured the sax into the case wet, and whatever way the mouthpiece and all the wood of it got wet, it expanded, and I was like trying to get the sax open, I couldn't get the case off the mouthpiece, and the sound engineer had it at one point, everyone had it in their hand at one point trying to get it off, couldn't get it off, so I'm going to have to play with no sax. The last second then I think Neil got it off with a drumstick
monkey hand
and his foot or something. It was just he got it off eventually anyway and I was able to play it, but yeah, that was about 15 minutes again where I was like, this is
The first time you do it, you don't know what you're doing, so you're just doing it, and it's done. The second time, you don't know what you're doing, but you know what you're doing this time. But you still don't know. And that's finding that stress point for me. Each time I go into a song, I become full, I don't want to use the word spastic, but spasticated.
It was a really big learning curve as a band, but also even for me as a musician, because I was going in guns blazing, guitar solos, and I had this producer, Steve Shannon. He was like, back off on shred licks and let's just focus on the song. And it made me a better musician for it. Like I focused more on me playing all that crazy guitar stuff and all. It's great, but there's a softer side to all this. And to me abilities as well. It pushed me in a way that I was like nervous about it. I was unsure of myself, and I was like, I don't know, but I'm so happy with how it turned out. A couple of songs could have been heavier, but that's just a rock star. So another highlight, when we were recording We Go the Distance, and we were out in the Nutched in Offaly, lovely studio. We were recording all day, and we ended up coming to the guitar solo part, and I was like, yay, this is gonna be awesome. Just take after take. It went on like that for about 2 hours, and then we took a break, came back to it. The 2 lads said, just play what you want. I think the lads were getting tired at that stage, you know. Pressed record, red light came on, started into it, the first part of the solo was going well and stuff like that, and then there was a moment where Neil on the drums just does a full pause, and I just hit this one note, and I went, boo, and then it drops, and then everything comes back. The 2 lads, I could just see them through the glass, and they were like, I felt like a 5-year-old. Did I get it? Did I do that? Album 2, I wasn't around for a while, and there were songs being written and I wasn't there, and I came in later on, and it was great. Like a lot of the songs were there already, so it was great. Adam asked me to come back. I'd be delighted to have you play on album number 2, and I said 100% yes. Came in, listened to the songs, and I was absolutely blown away by what you had. I was like, I have to be, I'm back.
Like the first time we did the album, we recorded twice, and I did the first recordings while trying to play at the same time. It was a buzz, like it was a way of learning. All of us are just a lot more experienced in the recording process, but there is an element where push comes to shove and you're going to make the actual cut. There's always a kind of a shooting in the dark element. That could be anything. That could be leaning too much into a tom roll. That could be cooking a preamp too hard. Maybe the bass line's a bit distorted, or a decision you made at the time, you know, when you're in the trenches. In hindsight, you could learn from that and move on, and in the next album you mightn't do that, but you'll do something else. Yeah, so I know what it means in the sense that like, more experience, but the process should be still pushing what you have done or what you've tried, or trusting your gut and going, look, yeah, look, it felt like that on the day. That's how it was. Like some of the cuts on the album, like February, was done like across a whole Saturday kind of afternoon, morning, afternoon into the evening. We had dinner. We went out again then till kind of maybe 1 or 2 in the morning, and then the other lads came down the next day, and it was just the way it came out on that weekend. I know when Neil's getting a sorrow.
The biggest differences in the two albums were like the first time we enlisted the help of a man called Steve Shannon, who done a great job, and we went to Nutshed Studios and we all recorded kind of individually, and then Steve put it all together and came up with what we know as our first album. Yeah, really proud of it and really happy the way it ended up. But I suppose it was like we were all a bit unsure and all a bit in the dark as to what we were trying to do. You know, it's that question you're always asked of, what do you want the band to sound like? You know, just wanted us to sound like ourselves. So I kind of felt this urge to, you know, and I think the lads did as well. We were going to do this ourselves as best we can, you know. And so here in Kildare, we spent a bit of time converting some old buildings outside the house into the studio, and around 2020, beginning of it, I just said to the lads, right, look, we're going to go do the second album. And it ended up being a great process. It ended up being a really enjoyable way of doing it. I think we were demoing the songs for, you know, a good number of years before we actually decided, right, these are the ones going on the album. We had a lot of songs to choose from. Some new songs, some songs that could have made the first album. There were some songs that when we went down the Topsail road, we sort of recorded them as Topsail, but they're always Barley Mob songs, so it made sense to include those songs in the second album, you know. So I suppose the major difference, like the self-production of the second album, was a different experience to the first time, you know. So I'm really happy the way the second album turned out. It was just great to be able to nail down that thing that we were going after ourselves. It was a good sense of achievement, and I highly recommend any band that's recording to go and do that, you know. You learn so much about yourself and about the songs, and yeah, it was a win.
It has to be Wild Roots, you know, local gig for me now. First gig for the town. And Neil O'Connell and the boys, you know, put on a great festival. Mickey and that to help with the 2 a.m. Capri Sun. Wild Roots, yeah, it was special. It was special then.
Favourite gig of 2022, Wild Roots in Sligo. That was a phenomenal gig. It was a big stage and a lot of people showed up. Stage crew were fantastic. Everything sounded great. The two new guys, Robbie and Gav, were on fire that day as well. Everyone was dressed up and we looked great, we looked the part.
Yeah, Wild Roots and Fantastic was incredible as well.
Then the Wild Roots the following year.
Yeah, the actual gig.
The actual proper gig, the actual festival. It has to be. Just we got to the stage and it was maybe 60, 70, maybe 100 people at the most around the area. Not even at the stage, but around. At the end of the gig, there must have been a few thousand there. Like.
Probably Wild Roots, I would say. It was a fantastic gig, really well organised again. Neil O'Connell and Ricky Bourne and a few of the other crew that were there, like they just put on a great show, and they were really welcoming and, you know, really accommodating to myself and the lads, and the sound was fantastic on stage, and yeah, we got a nice crowd, just a lovely gig.
I'm using my beloved Pearl Export Session Series Select, a 5-piece kit. It's maple shells, 8 plies. I'm currently using a Mapex Snapper Burl 14-inch snare, an aluminium 14 by 5.5 as a rim shot. It's been changed around time and time again with wooden hoops and aluminium hoops, good heads and bad heads. I'm expecting special delivery.
Drum roll, please.
Dear Tillman, let's just say it'll be worth the wait. Can't say about it, it's special. It's going to be special for me. Cymbals, I'm always expanding. I've got a full set of Susan A Customs, 14-inch hats, 16-inch crash. I've got an 8, 10, 12 splashes. I've got a Zildjian K ride. It's a left-hand side dark ride. A nice little bell on it, you know. It's nice.
And rivets, yeah.
Rivet, yeah, like a frog.
This is a Sire Larry Carlton model, and it's actually customized with L2 split and coil pickups, 2 humbuckers, and set up to my spec. It's 11 through 49 gauge strings, and yeah, standard tuning. Absolutely beast. I love this guitar. I was for a long time using a Marshall Blues Breaker 2x12 beast of an amp, but then it was just getting impractical to be bringing that to gigs we were playing. It was just like too loud, and then pedals. Had a list the length of my arm. One of my favourites is the Strymon Flint, because it has a harmonic tremolo that's just incredible, and then it has these reverbs that are fantastic. It has an 80s, 70s and 60s reverb, and they're just insane. I love them. They're just such, it makes your sound warmer. And then the wah pedal. So I love my wah. It's just a bog standard Crybaby wah pedal. Went through a load of wah pedals, but I always came back to the Crybaby. Overdrive pedals. I have so many. The One Black Homeless, TS Tube Screamers, TS9, I've had many variation of those.
Yeah.
Delays, I've had a hit and miss relationship with delays, but the TC Electronic Flashback 2 for crazy sounds, but really reliable pedal, and I get good sounds out of that.
Yeah.
But I actually use like Ryman Dig pedal. It's a dual digital delay, it's really nice.
2 hours later.
Electro Harmonics Canyon delay. That sound, that's the best shimmer. I've been through shimmer pedals. This one is just the best shimmer I've ever heard, and I love it. It's on the album, and when you hear it, it's fantastic. Phase 95, chorus pedal, exotic EP booster, SL drive. Mix and match, mix it up. What sounds best on the day, go for it.
It's a Fender jazz bass, Mexican, on second hand off a friend of mine on layaway years ago, and I'll take best 500 quid I ever into an Ampeg head, into a Harca cabinet. Really happy with it. Huge. 4x12. The combination we came across in Crane Lane in Cork. Jazz festival or Paddy's Day, or jazz festival. And it blew my mind, you know. The combination of the Ampeg and the Harca was just like, that's the sound I'm looking for. In terms of recording, the rig's going great now. We have 16 in, Pro Tools, whatever. Before it went subscription, I wanted to own my own recording rig. Like that was originally what the plan was. I just loved studio engineering, recorded sound rather than live sound. Getting it right, like perfect sound forever. Like. Yeah, so then we've been working since I started lifting coal, I don't know, 2014, 2015. Got 2 Apollos daisy chained into Pro Tools. Trying to get as much as we can on the day live, as in drummer, guitar, vocals and bass, and overdub brass, keys and guitars. Ideally we would have done all 6 in the room, but at the time, I don't know, there was something going on that I can't really remember. No traffic on the roads.
It was just weird.
I think, so stay at home or something. I don't know, I can't remember. Something was going on anyway. So there was only 3 musicians in the room, but we wanted to concentrate rather than overdubs, trying to get a record down. You know, this is as close to perfect in a moment in time, and have it to the highest fidelity, all the frequencies, everything right there, not looking for nothing phase, and room set up the best way that we can get the room set up, amps facing the right way, drums in the right place, right microphones. That's it in terms of gear, like.
I'm a bit of a show off, I'll admit. I like to show off, but and I like to do crazy stuff on the guitar, and I like to jump around the stage and stuff, get the energy going, like, you know, and when you get everyone smiling, that's the best buzz in the world. When you turn around and you see Butler, he's smiling his head off, he's like crazy. And then like the John Boy bouncing with me all those years. Our knees are probably gone now, you know, but maybe back as well. But yeah, right, you know. So buy the new album. And to pay the medical expenses. But and Shawnee Bean, having guitar offs with Shawnee was fantastic. Those years were fantastic. You know, chap's a phenomenal player, and I love going head to head with him. And he always beat me a little bit, but you know, I always throw in crazy stuff. Maybe, but great guy, Connor Bourne. I love the guy. Can't say enough about Connor Bourne. Keys, that's keys, by the way. Adam, what can I say? I love being your right hand man on stage. I love standing beside you. It's like one of the gigs we were only playing recently, and there was a moment where we were just jamming. We were playing this, I think it was the second song in, and the two of us just looked at each other, and it was real. This feels right, exactly, and you're amazing at it. Credit, lyrics, singing, like everything, playing, performance, and breaking 100 G strings in a week. You're insane, but I love it. I love it. It's great. Like honestly, but like when it comes to the live performance stuff, I love to push everyone as well, and I love to get everyone involved, and I love it to be one unit, and then get the crowd, like you know, the crowd, the band, everyone smiling, and it's all about the love of music and being there, performing for people and stuff like that, and seeing their happy faces, and singing the songs back. Just you know, that's what it's all about.
You become very aware of everything, like just in the minutes leading up to it when the adrenaline kicks in, you know, awareness becomes heightened, you know, and kind of the better gigs, I think, are the ones where you can kind of, this is it, right now, this is the best I can play, like, you know, like in a future time, maybe I could be a better player, or be a better singer, or be a better drummer. Right now, today, we're gonna nail it, like, even if that means a couple of mistakes, rather that and just pure energy and belief. If you can do that with a couple of mistakes, you're lit.
Music has always been a sort of a very powerful thing because it can change your reality, you know. And with the band, it's like, I just always feel full confidence and it feels great, you know. It's also this thing that happens where, you know, no matter what's happening in your life, no matter what you're worried about or what's going on, like financial struggle, whatever it is, during the time that you're actually involved in performing, none of that stuff comes up, like all them other things just kind of go away, and there's, you can recognize how powerful that is, you know. So, and you kind of have to go through fear and you have to go through adrenaline to get to that place where you can sort of be transported away somewhere else for an hour or whatever, you know. So it's a very, very special thing, and from going around the country the last 12 years with the Barley Mob and sort of seeing the response and the rapport that we're building up with people and the reaction from different crowds, there's nothing like it. There's just no other feeling like it, and it's a reassuring thing every time we do a gig that we are doing something that is valuable to people, and so we're not going to stop anytime soon. I want to put out 10 albums at least, you know, so there's just nothing like a Barley Mob gig. If you've not been, you should come and see it and be part of it and be involved, you know, because the mob thing has always been the crowd and the band and everyone that's there to be part of this thing, and it's an amazing experience. I'm very grateful and I'm very thankful that we're able to do it, and long may it last.
What's the hurry just to be someday? You've got the rest of your life.